During the pandemic, I had this realization. I don't like living in the city. I realized I don't get a lot out of living in it. I don't like how close my neighbors are. I had some great neighbors across the street, but I just didn't really like how packed in I felt in neighborhoods. And so I became determined. I thought, man, if we can just move out to the country, all my wildest dreams will come true. I'll be so happy. Well, amazingly, God provided. We ended up moving out to the country. But what's so wild is my wildest dreams didn't come true. Now I'm living out in the country and there's a whole new set of problems and challenges that come with it. And I just don't feel as satisfied as I wanted to. I thought, man, now I'm thinking, oh, if I can just get even further away from people. I want to live 100 acres away from people. That's the introvert in me. You ever notice that's the nature of life? We just can't get no satisfaction. You get what you thought you wanted. You move to the neighborhood you thought you wanted to live in. And then you find out everybody else moved there, and then traffic's insane, and you're going, this is crazy. Or you get the amount of money you thought was going to be enough, and you go, it's still not enough. King Solomon, he addresses this thing within us that just says, it's not enough. I need more. I need more. Right out the gate, Ecclesiastes 1:7-9, he says, all streams flow into the sea, yet the sea is never full. To the place the streams come from, there they return again. All things are wearisome, more than anyone can say. The eye never has enough of seeing, nor the ear its fill of hearing. We literally just can't get enough. And when you think you've gotten it, you wake up the next day and that thrill you got initially from getting it, it goes away. This is what King Solomon is saying in his book of perspective. And it brings to mind something C.S. Lewis said. He said this, if I find in myself desires which nothing in this world can satisfy, the only logical explanation is that I was made for another world. This thing within us that can't get no satisfaction, it's a desire for God within us. Pascal called it the God-shaped hole. It's just this thing that only God is big enough to fill within us. And we get what we want, we strive, we fight, we manipulate, we kick, and then we still find ourselves going, why do I still want more? That thing within us is really, we were made for another world. We're always going to have this lack of fulfillment, lack of satisfaction. Sure, we get some glimpses of it when I'm hanging out with my daughter and my wife. Sometimes I just feel really fulfilled. But there's always going to be a deep sense within us, this hole that, I want more. And that thing that we want more of is God himself. That's why King Solomon keeps saying in this book of perspective, he says in Ecclesiastes that everything that I'm talking about is what happens under the sun. If we're only looking at what's around us, we can really lose perspective. So what is the answer? We all have we're always fighting and kicking. Well, first of all, the answer is not to get more. In fact, usually when you get more, you find out that what you got you. If you've ever owned a home, you know what this is like. You're like, I finally owned a home. I own a home. And then you realize actually that home owns you because you're constantly having to do work on it. There's a word for what we call somebody who has no control over where their time, money, or energy goes. We call them a slave. And it's so easy to fall into the slavery of wanting more and not feeling content or feeling like getting the thing you wanted and then finding out that thing actually owns you. We don't want to fall into slavery. That's why Paul said, he says, it was for freedom that Christ set you free. Don't surrender yourself again to a yoke of slavery. And we oftentimes fall into slavery by our desire, this unquenchable desire for more. So Paul comes in with the answer in 1 Timothy. He says to Timothy this, he says, but godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into the world, and we cannot take anything out of the world. But if we have food and clothing, with these things we'll be content. When you can find contentment with what you have, sure, it's great to shoot for higher things, have an aim for bigger things, but you'll never be content until you can find contentment with what you have right now. That's what King Solomon is saying. There's always going to be this God-shaped hole within you that's just pulling, I need more, but it's never going to bring the fulfillment we're looking for. And I have to remind myself of this every day. Godliness with contentment is great gain. If I can focus on becoming the godly person that I'm called to be, living with purpose, living with a sense of character and doing what's right, that's where I'm going to find the fulfillment. And sure, it's fun to go after other things, but if those become our driving force, we're always going to feel like we're lacking and it's never quite enough. We'll never get no satisfaction. If this has been encouraging to you, I want to ask you if you would subscribe to this channel, add me on TikTok or Instagram or wherever you're watching this, and then share it with somebody that you think it might be an encouragement to. I'm doing this every day in January. We're going through the book of Ecclesiastes because I believe this book has the hope we need for this time that we're living in of abundance, but yet so many of us feel like we're lacking meaning. We'll see you tomorrow. Hope you have a great one.